Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you all here. Some new faces. Beautiful. And I see there's some people who are doing the 7-day sadhana here as well. So, yeah, I'd love to check in with you guys, see how it's going, what's coming up in the process on the path. Yeah, and for those who haven't been here, this is an opportunity to just sort of be in the collective field together. And what usually starts to happen at these meetings is, there's a something that starts to synergize. And when we do this work, we intend to, just really find out who we are. This aliveness starts to come forth. This one field of intelligence and consciousness, and in Zen they call this Shin. The Japanese Zen word Shin, which means something like the heart mind. So to me, at this gathering, it's like we're entering into the one mind, or the heart mind, and and it's just an opportunity to do that and just see what unfolds, and to share. So whatever's coming up on the path, if there's challenges in sadhana, or sharing whatever, maybe insights, maybe whatever's alive for you in this moment, we can share. So I invite you to, you can use the little raise hand feature, and they always seem to be moving that in Zoom. It used to be at the bottom of my screen. It's now hidden under the More button, and some people have it in different spots. If you have an iPad, it'll be in a different spot. So you might have to search for that raise hand feature. Sometimes it's under gestures as well. So, and if you can't find it, you can just unmute yourself as well. So, I'll go to start with Mandy. We'll get you to unmute. Oops. Yep.
Whoops.
That's okay.
Are you there?
I am
Because now
here.
I
Yeah.
don't see you anymore, but that's okay. Oh, there you are. I have to
Oh,
bring you back up.
okay.
Okay, so a sharing and a question.
Mhm.
I've heard you say, I don't know how many times about the mind is resistance, and yet, I got very triggered yesterday about over something, and this morning in my meditation, I um, I was working with I found myself just in mind struggling with the situation that was happening, the life situation that was happening, and then the awareness switched on. I was like, you know, it's let go, stop resisting. And I let go of all the things related to that life situation. And there was nice peace, bliss, awareness for a few minutes.
Mhm.
And then she was struggling again, back with the same situation. And what I recognized in that moment was that what I was struggling against was the thinking, how I was thinking about it. So I had let go of the situation itself, but I was still fighting with my mind for having the thoughts related to it was crazy. And we
Yeah,
keep saying, let everything be as it is. And
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how many times I've had this experience where it's like, okay, I'm fighting with my thoughts and the mind is
Mm,
fighting the mind.
yeah.
And it, it's like, how many times do you have to see this?
Yeah, yeah. So that's an amazing insight. So that insight is really key. So yeah, so that, whatever life situation was coming up, we those are going to come up no matter what. And
Yeah,
and there's old patterns of, contraction and resistance and all of that. So that's just going to be there, and that's part of what comes up on the path. But what you're catching is, the mind then thinks this shouldn't be happening. The mind has, you've had that taste of just being in this state of presence and free flow and a sense of ease. So the mind thinks that's where I have to be there 24/7
so,
in
right,
that state of flow. So when those samskaras come up and life situations come up, then there not only is there that old resistance, but there's a new resistance
right.
saying this shouldn't be happening. I should be in that bliss state or that flow. So catching that, there's nothing to do about that other than to see it's an incredible mess with the mind where it's just
It really is.
adding one resistance on top of another resistance. So catching that secondary judgment or evaluation is really key. And then
Yeah.
and if we can just stay in that, allow those, the mind is going to go through those things, but catching that secondary resistance is really huge, and then just recognizing, as you described, like the awareness that is just here. At the beginning, it's like, when we recognize that awareness, it's like we can just be kind of okay with what is. It's like
Hmm.
we just there, what however you come to that allowing or that surrender. But then the deepening of that is, that awareness is actually a loving, or we can actually love those contractions,
Hmm.
like actually um, love from that place of contractedness, even though
Right, right.
and
Now, I was really
yeah,
grateful for what had happened and how I'd gotten triggered afterwards just because of that. It was like, oh, yeah, that's so good. I'm so glad that happened because then I got to see this again,
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah.
that's
So,
beautiful. That's if we get to the point where we love our samskaras,
yeah.
and invite them, because that is the deepening of this path. So when they come up, it's like, oh yeah, I get to see what was in the unconscious, and bring light to it.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So, sort of related to that, because it's also along the same lines, is I recognize when we're doing the dyads that we're in presence and we're working with what is. But throughout this retreat, a number of I've been aware of really old conditioning patterns that and beliefs and things that weren't there before, and I can see them unraveling, but I see that they're very anchored in the self structure. And so my question is it appropriate to bring them into so say that that experience happens in the morning and then I'm doing a diet later at night. Is it appropriate to bring that into the dyad or only if it comes up in that moment? Because it feels like there's still some processing that needs to happen around that, but it doesn't necessarily when I'm in the dyad with the intention of experiencing who I truly am, those things aren't necessarily. spontaneously coming up?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it comes up. That question comes up for a lot of people. There's been a lot of people who, they might be actually going through something big in their life, like a breakup, or all these things happening, but then they come to the dyads, and it just doesn't come up. And so the question in the mind is, should I make it come up, or should I just,
Hmm.
have an intention to bring that up? And that's a tricky one. I would say, like, we don't plan anything out in advance,
Okay.
but also, in the dyad, like, if there are things that, maybe big samskaras that, they've been sort of popping up on the retreat and here and there. There can also be, sort of protection mechanisms of the mind that, the mind it has these sort of protector parts that, when things are painful or very sensitive, the mind will sort of block it. So when we do the dyads, becoming sort of sensitive, or picking up on these subtle aspects of the mind that might be, in play, is important. So I would say, we don't plan anything. We don't try and make anything happen, but
Okay.
also attune to the possibility. Just see if there's anything in the mind, that may be in play, that might be there might be, you know, like, it's usually a part of the mind that doesn't like discomfort, or doesn't like to, feel, suffering. So there might be something, because sometimes in the dyads it can be very blissful, just being in
Hmm.
presence. It's beautiful.
Hmm.
And there might be, something knocking at the door, that isn't blissful, and wanting to come up. And there might be just a subtle preference within the self structure that becomes evident. And not saying that there necessarily is. I don't know.
Hmm.
Everyone's different, but those are the types of things when we really attune to the subtle, that, we might notice something in the mind. Just a subtle preference, or a subtle wanting of something that just keeps, whatever's going in the unconscious. It doesn't allow it to come up.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Hmm. Thank you. Loredana.
Hi, Dan, and
Hello.
hi, everyone. Very nice to see you again. Um, I just it's fascinating. Last time when I actually spoke, the previous people actually have also shared the same things that I was going through, and it's pretty much the same with Mandy. I was kind of wow, look at that,
That's amazing.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Mhm.
Just a kind of just quick sharing because you said we can share what's kind of happening and coming up for us. I know that last time I spoke about and asked about spiritual bypassing and burning into it. And also, I shared that I was feeling very, very tired. Fun enough, after that conversation we had, the tiredness is gone
Mhm.
completely.
Mhm.
And the mind has decided that burning it, no, I'll show you. So it actually took me in a very mindless, I would say, space in terms of the uh, I used to do my Course in Miracles, have kind of lessons and stuff. I didn't want to see the book. I didn't want to read anything. I didn't, other than mindless stuff. I didn't want to watch a video that usually I was watching,
Amazing.
I was just,
Mhm.
no.
Great, great. That's amazing.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then
Mhm.
and it was something in me saying, hey, but I thought you're on a spiritual journey. What are you doing? It was, and then it kind of struck me after a couple of days that actually that was the perfect moment for me to realize, instead of kind of judging myself and judging what was going on, just see, okay, trying to understand what is this, because this is for me clearly happening, you
Yeah.
know.
Beautiful.
So I kind of
Right.
switched gears again. I think yesterday, kind of the change happened, but it was a very interesting period, I
Yeah.
have to say so. And it was always like there were two people in me, one saying almost like this undercurrent of peace and kind of saying all is fine, and the other voice which is constantly saying, yeah, but this shouldn't be like this, the judgment part and so on.
Hmm.
It's very interesting.
Mm. So in this moment, so you said it sort of switched again. What do you mean by that? Like the interest
Yeah.
in the books and all
Yeah,
of that
exactly. I went
switched
back to
again.
my lessons
I
and
see.
I
Yeah.
found again the resonance with what I was reading or listening to.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. So that's yeah, it's interesting that you're attuned to that and you're just going with it. That's perfect. Yeah. I think there's a natural all of those books and those teachings, even Course in Miracles and the spiritual teachers, they're all pointing to what's here now, to this moment. So at a certain point, if we're always going to the next video and the next teaching, they're like little signs, saying they're pointing, so if we're attention is going to the sign, we miss what they're actually pointing to, which is just this. It's just what's here in this moment. So there's a natural when that really lands, there's a natural going inward and just being with what is, and there's a realization when we get that all of these pointers on the level of mind, the mind will keep us in that
Yeah.
dance forever and
Mhm.
accumulating knowledge. And
Yeah.
but what this really is, it's not about accumulating knowledge. It's not about getting any information or anything from out there, but actually recognizing what's here in this moment.
Yeah.
Just
So in other words, it's practice time or living time. Live what you are reading or kind of learning about. Now it's time to live it really.
yeah, yeah, and there's it sounds like to me what you're describing. It's there is sometimes like almost like a grace that happens, when
Mm,
that mind that's always searching for something externally, it sort of goes quiet, and that interest is lost, and there's a deepening, a beautiful presence that we can
yeah.
just be, without having to do anything, without having to figure out A Course in Miracles and all that stuff. It's and when that comes, I think it's the most beautiful opportunity. It's like, it's a natural
Yeah.
meditation, really. It's an invitation just to, we don't have to do anything or formal meditation in that space, but it's like life is
Yeah.
meditating us in a way in that
Yeah.
space.
And may I please ask you what happens when, for example, my mind wants to read stuff which is has nothing to do with any personal growth, any nothing, just I don't know, again,
Yeah, well,
stupid
it's
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, the mind, like there's this human experience is full
Okay.
of all kinds of stuff. The Dan character loves sci-fi.
Okay.
Like so, and there's a, I don't know, I can't deny it. There's like part of the self structure that it's there's an energy there.
Yeah.
So it's a not a problem. It's beautiful. It's part of life. It's only when we, I think the thing with the spiritual path is, we listen to these teachers and
Right.
teachings and we think it has to be a certain way,
Yeah.
and like, should I do this? But to me, it's very simple. It's like I can't deny anything that is authentically arising in within this body mind. If I think, oh, I shouldn't watch sci-fi or I shouldn't do this or whatever, then it's like I'm dividing
Yeah.
myself against myself. So I trust there's an intelligence to all of it, and it's a It's only when we introduce shoulds into it, then we create this split in ourself. And it's like, if I'm going to be a spiritual person, then I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't read that, but when we see how the mind it's constantly creating these divisions within ourselves, then it's all allowed, and these things will just run their course. We get
Yeah.
drawn to certain things, and it's kind of mysterious. At different points in the journey, certain things are just alive for us, and they're
Yeah.
sometimes we don't know. There might be actually a beautiful poetic reason. We think, this is something separate from the path, from the
Mhm.
path of awakening, but maybe not. Maybe if there's an aliveness there and an energy around it, it's all the path. It's
Yeah.
there's like a something guiding us on this journey. So, sometimes we evaluate like this is spiritual and this is non-spiritual, but yeah, I trust whatever is authentically alive for us. It's all part of the path. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
you're right, because that split I felt in me exactly and now I realize actually I was kind of more like my resistance was creating that split.
Mm.
Uh, Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, namaste, Dan, and
Namaste.
everyone. Um, Thank you for this. You always kind of nail it on the head when you say we sync up. So even with the first couple of people that went, it's already kind of brought some confirmation. So I hope I can convey this. What I wish to share, what wants to be shared, is I don't know about you, but it's like wow. This spring doesn't feel like a new cycle or um, a new season. It really feels like a brand new reality. So um, yeah, but the meditation and the sits, I have to tell you that these energies are very supportive. Like when you're in your own energy, it's so supportive. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but they're so supporting that I was able to quit smoking after 45 years, like without any withdrawals, without any cravings of food, like all those things that would have happened maybe 5, 10 years ago. I don't know, but it
Yeah,
was really easy.
that's
Like I
that's
can't even believe
amazing.
it.
Yeah,
But
45 years. Wow,
I think
that's incredible. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mm.
in 2024, I was very strongly pulled to meditate on this platform. I'm so glad I did, and I've committed to it, and I do feel the collective group energy. Um, yeah, it's amazing. It's very telepathic at the same time. And so what I've noticed is that that's pretty much, I think, 90% of my ego. Like it's gone. And so what's happening now is there's no patterns. Like there's absolutely no patterns. There's no content. There's just nothing there. and and so, and even what you were saying about having, a fan of sci-fi and all, like this, there's no even uh, that. Like, it's really amazing because there's no limitations, but at the same time, I will not know what to do because it's so it feels so I don't know, like completely my I don't even know how to say it, but yeah, I'll find myself going to the kitchen and just well, nothing to do here. Like or I just feel like um in limbo
Yeah.
because this new energy or this state of being, which is not was not ego at all. There's no patterns. There's no nothing. So
Hmm.
what I operated on before, even the sits,
Hmm.
like I'm not even. There's not even a pattern. Like let's say routine is gone. So yeah, so it's really interesting how to operate because yes, I can maybe go with the flow, but I even don't know what that is because it
Yeah.
feels like I should just sit always.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's
I
beautiful.
don't even
Yeah.
know what to do. Like it's really weird.
Yeah. You
It's
know,
just weird.
what you're describing, like just yesterday, Lila and I, there's certain things that we've been feeling. Like Lila was thinking that there's another film coming for her, and energy was around that, but it wasn't really super clear. Like she was sort of in a mode of just being for quite a period of time, and so we started to just explore a little bit yesterday, with just creating some music and seeing what was going to come through, and and the feeling was like we've done this before.
Yeah.
It's like it felt like yeah, and it just energetically, it was like we just let it go. It felt like a little exploration, but yeah, it felt like for me right now, it is a really interesting time. It's if I think if you're just drawn to just being, that's perfect, and it seems like there's a potency right now, like what seems to be happening in the world, all of that, like things are dismantling like really fast on different levels, but also, what I'm experiencing is things are also manifesting really super fast as well. So I think it's both. It's like wherever we put our attention now, it's very important, where we put attention, because it's like that saying, where attention goes, energy flows. And I feel there's a potency right now to that. So if it's not clear, if it's the ego and old patterns putting attention somewhere just because we think we should be doing something, that it's not necessary. I think if there's a natural draw to just being, then
Yeah,
yeah,
because the mind can't figure it out.
yeah, that's
It
perfect.
cannot figure it out at all. So
Yeah,
it's like, okay, so there's no mind. I'm not going to say there's no mind, but there's no content, there's no thought, there's no pattern.
yeah.
So if I have, like, I have a kind of a pretty big speaking engagement this Saturday, and I would be preparing for that. Like I would be reciting my notes, and I've been like, what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
And I can't even that the mind can't figure that out, even how to prepare for that.
Beautiful. That's exciting.
I know, but it's
That's
kind
that.
of
Yeah.
like even like I feel like I'm just gonna show up and I feel like I'm going to be unprepared, but I know that it's going to happen, but
Mhm.
I can't even practice.
That's beautiful. I,
I, I don't,
I went through, like, with retreats. I used to always, my little character was always preparing and getting amazing quotes, and like getting all these preparations, and that went on for a while, but eventually, I would go through those motions, but then would never use it. Then I would come to the actual retreat, and it would just be alive, and just kind of forget about that, but went through this phase of still doing it, just in case, the
yeah,
little character was kind of fearful, and then, but eventually it dropped, and there was this sense of trust that whatever needs to come forth, whatever I need to know in this body mind, I'll know it in the moment, and just trusting. And I think it gets wired in over time. I think the more we do that, we put at the beginning, it is a little nerve-wracking for the character because it likes to have its hands on the steering wheel. But if we just, trust that, the self is going the words come, it's mysterious where they come from because it's not from thinking and preparation from the old thoughts and memories.
Well, like you said, where your attention goes, energy flows. But if there's no pattern, like say Lisa went for walks, like oh, I did this, but the mind isn't. I don't even actually want to go to the mind to even figure out what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do. Like
Yeah.
if I don't use the mind, like, oh, what did I do before? Oh, I did
Mm-hmm.
this at this time, or I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's very spontaneous, which I am a spontaneous person to begin with, but now it's yeah, it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
like I feel
Yeah.
that yes, or do I feel it? Like what am I feel? Do I just do it automatically? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to share
Yeah.
that. But
That's
um,
amazing. So that not knowing, that little the eye that doesn't know what to do, that eye, if you let that eye just be a not knowing eye, that is a don't know mind. That's the beginner's mind that I'm always pointing to in Zen. The
it feels like a beginner's mind, like a really
yeah,
brand new reality right now. Like just
yeah,
I get to create it, but as a creator, I'm just yeah, it's just like kindergarten.
yeah. That's beautiful. And yeah, and the more we kind of marinate or just allow that don't know mind, the deepening of that is, there it's blissful to not know. It's liberation to not know, to not
Yeah,
have
no,
to know.
it is very liberating. There's no
Hmm.
limitation, and if we were all like that, imagine what we can create collectively.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So
So
yeah, so whatever's unfolding there, and the beauty is like life just puts things in our lap as well. Like your speaking engagement, it's just happening. Life is
happening.
so whatever things are still going to show up in life, whether we choose or don't. If there's a little I choosing or not choosing, it doesn't matter because life is going to make things show up in life. So it's all going to happen, whether we think like the illusion is that we're actually ever in control of any of it. We think the little self thinks it has to make things happen and constantly be choosing, but this is the illusion, is that there actually is, some control over that. But, there's more and more a sense that life is just happening. And the more we feel that, it's a huge burden, to have to make things happen in life. And when we let that go, the sense of ease with all of it is so.
Yeah, and just sorry, one more thing, and just even any of that, it's even going to bed. Like just okay, I'm going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like but my body won't go to sleep now. Like it's really weird. So I just wanted to share that with everyone, and thank you everyone for sharing so far because it all feels like connected
Mm-hmm.
somehow. So
It
thank
is.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your advice,
Thanks,
Dan,
Lisa.
and always your
Mm-hmm.
wisdom. It always hits home and resonates with. It feels like true.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Go to Robin. Hi, Robin.
Hey, Dan.
I hear a little feedback loop here somewhere. Hang on one sec. Just gonna see what's going on. Somebody unmuted here. Do you hear a feedback loop, or is it just me?
I don't.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. Well,
I hear it, Dan.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe Mandy is mute. Maybe.
Okay. Let me just. No, Mandy is muted. Yeah, I hear this feedback again here. Here we go. Um, 1 second. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. I guess I'll just hang on. I'm just going to mute all. Okay, here we go, and I'll get Robin to unmute. Okay. Oh,
Did
no.
it go away?
It's still looping. I'm not sure what's
Let me try something. Mandy and I are in the same house, but we're opposite ends. Let me close a door.
Okay.
And see if
That'd be great.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Anything change?
I think. Oh, it is still. It's just my voice that's looping. You know what? I'm just going to mute myself and let you talk, and then we'll disconnect.
Okay. Yeah, I actually, I'm on the retreat, and so I do have a couple of questions that came up, but I did want to share something. Last night I was on a dyad, and with Monique, who's on this call, by the way. And I know we hear things 1,000 times and it's a concept until we experience it. But I was speaking with Monique last night, or we were doing actually we weren't speaking much at all, actually. But I came up with the experience, I came up with a realization that, there were no bells and whistles, and I had no prizes or door number 3 opened up, and I got a trip around the world or anything. But I was very aware of the fact that Robin was a concept. The being, the character Robin was such a concept, and I was just sat there and looked at it, and right after that, the realization came that there was no identity. I mean, all that striving in the past up until that moment was just a lot of effort. And that identity that was whatever history is, whatever memory and whatever past events are, that identity is not here now. There is no identity. And the whole process just exhausted me. I mean, I had 2 more dyads, and I just, I played the game. Oh, is it my ego going, I want to escape, and where's the real me, and where's the Robin, and I just needed to go to bed. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, and I'm on purpose leading into one of my other questions. But it was such when I say brilliant, I mean such a bright event that was really, really nice, really nice.
Beautiful. So I'm just going to mute you, or if you know what, if you can, yeah, if you can mute yourself when I speak, that would be helpful. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, what you're describing is, it's exactly what happens in this process. So that sense of exhaustion within the Robin character, it sounds like energy was becoming free of that character. So quite often there can be an incredible sense of exhaustion within the character, but in that moment, it's a beautiful time to inquire, who am I in that moment? Am I that character that is, feeling this exhaustion? Am I tired in that experience. And, is like the awareness, there's an awareness that is present, so is awareness tired? Am I awareness or am I this character? And it's a beautiful time to inquire. Get you to unmute there. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I wanted to do that, but it was time for bed. I mean, I just, the whole thing, the whole who's aware, who's not aware, who is it that's tired, and the whole process bored me, and I went to bed and read a John Grisham novel. Finished, or not finished, but read some more of a John Grisham novel. I just was beyond caring at that point. Which brings up which I, on purpose, I am like, I wake up at 3:34 in the morning, and by 8 o'clock I'm not really wanting to interact with anything, the world. And so these dyads during this retreat, the last couple dyads are like really late, and I'm just wondering, I noticed there's some European time ones. I didn't run the time frame, but I think I'm in your time. I'm in the New York Eastern, United States Eastern Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
When do they occur? Those dyads occur?
Yeah, so those dyads are really not up and running yet. They're just sort of there, like people can join if they want to. I'm still getting this feedback loop happening here, so yeah. So one thing I'll mention, like really the way these dyads work, we put them in the evenings because the mind really gets tired, and the mind's defenses are really down at night. So there is a beauty. I know it's, it can be a little bit torturous for the character to do it at night, but it actually is the best time to do dyads, is when the mind is really tired, when those defenses are down. And like what you experienced is, it's interesting how the mind, like you went for the John Grisham novel afterwards, and you were at a threshold where something really interesting was happening, and so in that moment it can go one way or another. If we inquire in that moment, who am I? Am I this mind that's tired, or can I directly experience this awareness that is here? And what you described, like the character is not interested in awakening. The character actually is never. At a certain point, the character will be distracted from this process, or it'll want a way out. So it'll, it's amazing at retreats, like the mind, when we start to really become present, the mind will start to look for anything to keep it engaged. Like literally reading, ingredients lists on things, or whatever it is. So the mind will, it'll find something to keep itself active. So I would invite, when you're at that threshold, when the mind its defenses are down and really tired, we can't really make this happen, but the invitation is to just directly experience this awareness that's here. And you described waking up early in the morning as well, and that's a beautiful time. Sometimes when the self, or when that consciousness is alive, it's like that grace comes forth, and we wake up early, and it's a beautiful time to you could say inquire, but just be with that awareness.
Um, okay, and then also in the instructions, the schedule, it says that there is at 7:30 to 8:30. I can continue with dyads, but I didn't. There are no dyads scheduled. That's a
Yeah,
question.
yeah, they're not scheduled. So there is on that page where they're scheduled. If you go to the bottom of that page, there's look for a partner now. So sometimes people will if they're
Ah.
if other people are not doing the meditation, they might click on look for a partner now, and you might get paired up. So
Oh, and I think I missed that opportunity last night. There was somebody on, but I just didn't know I could pair with them. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
we're working on we're updating. We keep adding features, so we're gonna update the little video that explains all of it and make it really clear.
Oh, then I didn't need John Grisham. Could have had a V8. Um, all right, I'm going to get a little. I do now. My real question follows. I hope you'll indulge me, but I'm going to get a little technical on you. I think I solved the problem.
Ah,
I bet
okay.
you don't hear feedback at this
No,
point.
I don't hear it now. No, no.
Okay, there is a selection in under audio, um, original sound for musicians, and I
Yes,
was using that for something Monday, and I think the noise removal was removed.
that's what it is. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Okay, great. Good to know.
So,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
just
that's
pass that on if it
feedback.
happens again.
Perfect.
I
Perfect.
went back to I got rid of that, and it's normal now. So.
Awesome. Awesome.
Anyway, so my real question, after indulging my precatory stuff, is I heard your answers to somebody a couple days ago in the pre-recorded sessions of this retreat about falling asleep and getting tired and getting sleepy. And you gave some pointers, and well, two actually, but one of them was pay attention to your somatic responses. And uh, I have for probably a year and a half to 2 years, when I do get into meditation or spiritual talks, um, that sometimes I get sleepy. I mean, I got sleepy anyway at 10 o'clock in the morning if I'm watching TV because it just hypnotizes me. But I paid attention to the somatics, and I noticed when I start zoning out, it's when my breathing gets shallow. And if I'm really zoned out into that pink cotton candy cloud, my breathing just almost stops. So if I pay attention to the breathing and catch it and start breathing, that sleepiness, that withdrawal doesn't happen. And I've been playing with that for 2 days now. That's the connection that I've been looking for a couple years now, but I still don't always catch it, like our last live meditation right before this Q&A.
Mhm.
I just went, gone. And I'm just wondering if you could drill down a little bit more or address that situation.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm getting some clarity on it, but it's not fixing itself yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So, may I ask, like, so in your meditation practice, what are you doing up to that point? Are you working with any technique, or you're just putting attention on the somatic field? Is that sort of the practice, or?
I would say mostly just sitting with eyes open would be the predominant. There is some breathing, attention to breathing, but a lot of times that'll fall away.
Okay.
And like this morning, the 2 hour meditation, except for the last 10 minutes, I was crystal clear, largely because of the dyad last night, I think, but
Yeah.
crystal clear. So it doesn't happen every single time, but I would say just sitting is primary.
Okay. And so when this sort of somatic thing is happening, is there a sense of being very aware, like fully present with that?
With the slowing down of the breathing and then
Yes, yeah, when the breath
no,
gets really subtle. No, okay.
no, there is intention to be with it, but I would say I am not successful.
Okay. So the mind is getting sort of dreamy or spaced out when that's
Yes.
happening. Okay.
Yes, yes. And then
Okay.
I can get some dreams too. They'll be non-existent. Like one time I listened to this guy. It wasn't me, it wasn't in my life, but he was talking about fixing his carburetor and what he did to fix. I mean, I have no idea about fixing carburetors, and I'm not a mechanic or anything. So, but I will experience some dreamlike things that aren't really part of my life. I'm not working out issues or anything.
So yeah, so I would say like the practice is to, like there's a real turning point in this practice when we can observe the mind directly, and when we do that, there can be this sense of being fully here, fully present. Like the consciousness can be like a pristine, lucid consciousness, but looking directly at the mind. You know, so if we're just sort of getting lost in like a dreamy haze, there's like awareness is always here. So it's an amazing time when the mind is starting to produce that more dreamlike phenomena. And I've talked about the hypnagogic imagery as well. When we're going to sleep, sometimes it's like very visual stuff can start to come up as well. So when there's that change, the regular alert beta kind of mind is sort of softening, and this dream phenomena is coming up. It's a beautiful time to inquire, because you can that awareness that is aware of that phenomena, we can start to recognize that this awareness is here, the sense that I'm here, but I'm watching the mind. I'm not just taken by the mind. So a turning point in the practice is when I can look directly at that phenomena, recognize, that I'm this awareness that's here, but not getting caught in it. And that same process will unfold. The mind, nothing has to change with the mind. We let everything be as it is. The breath can get very, very subtle. It's so subtle that it feels like it can stop even. But the deepening of the practice is to recognize that, I am aware, that I'm this awareness that is ever present, whatever that mind is doing. Whatever state the mind is in, those states are changing, but there's something that I am that is aware of all of those changing states. And that's what we're intending to directly experience in our Dyads and in our meditation practice. And it's just this ordinary awareness that is here now, but it's possible to directly experience it.
The only time I caught it since becoming aware of it, of the somatic part, I saw my eyelids starting to close, half open, and then I caught it. But all other times, it just snuck up. It just caught me. It just was gone. I was unable to watch it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's totally normal. That it takes a lot of time. When we go to bed at night, that's the perfect opportunity to do it. But sometimes we'll just fall asleep. We just go into sleep. But sometimes we can really catch what the mind is doing and start to look at it, and then we can consciously go into the sleep cycle, just resting as consciousness itself, and the mind, my favorite teacher, Dogen, said, meditation is the dropping off of mind and body. So we can literally experience the mind dropping off, but yet awareness remains, and then the mind will come back. It's like a little machine that will start up, and it just it's like springs back to life. And in the morning, like out of deep sleep, the mind, it's like this little machine starting up, and the conditioned self, the Robin character, comes back into being. So
I could watch that happen. Yeah, yeah. I can watch
yeah,
that.
so that, so just, being when the sense of what I am is with that awareness, that awareness is actually continuously present, so we don't have to ever try and make anything happen with that, but it's simply a question of being, like of who I am, of just knowing who and what I am, directly experiencing myself as that consciousness. And so it sounds like you're doing that, and yeah, the mind, there is an inertia of the mind. It can, just sometimes it's like attention and that sense of consciousness gets snagged by the mind, and we go into a normal sleep cycle, or we go into a dreamy dream state in meditation practice, and there's nothing to do except just keep noticing.
Keep noticing. Okay. I mean, yeah, at least I have a somatic to look at now that I never had before. So
Yeah, and that's a great signal. The more we sort of, like that somatic field is getting rewired as well. So that energy is like the bridge, and it's if we kind of stay with that energy, it can be like a bridge for consciousness. It's like we can start to feel, rather than just getting caught in the thoughts, we can feel this changing flow and just be with it continuously, and that can sort of take us into a conscious connection with the mind. It's not necessary. It's a sort of an intermediary step. Some people are attuned to energy and kind of use it as a bridge. And then other people, it's possible to just recognize the awareness that's here now and not take that intermediary
I think I need
step.
the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, whatever works. Yeah.
okay. All right. Thank you
Okay, thank
so
you.
much.
Go to Shaheen. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello.
Oops. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Um, so it's been, I think, about 3 to 4 weeks now since my life has externally, it has changed a lot. So I used to do meditation, like not very, at the beginning I used to do a lot. And then now it's more, thanks to you, Dan, it's more integrated in life. It's very naturally for me to be in that kind of state. But I do get a lot of samskaras that come up very deeply. I've noticed like every Monday there's always something coming up. It's like clockwork. And I think that the question, which I think something as I've noticed a pattern in the last couple of years, where I kind of I meet, they seem like new people, but it's like meeting the same people in a different body, and like the really new body that'll come in, but it's like the same person from the past. Like I kind of see that pattern, and then it kind of frustrates the ego because it's like, can I ever meet anybody new in this life? And I've noticed specifically for, like, if you want to call it like romantic um partners and stuff like that that come in, it's like these people will come in, and it's like 3 weeks, like they'll be in the life, and there's a lot of these going back of communication, a lot of things in common, and then all of a sudden it just like kind of falls back, like it just falls out. And like just recently, I think it was 3 weeks back, I met someone just the moment I got a job. So it was like got this new job, and I'm trying, like, my ego is like, okay, you got to work up the corporate ladder, you got to kind of build yourself up, and then like now there's this other kind of distraction that's like, coming in, and then I've walked in the path for many years trying to go as a monk. So it's like, this polarity that's like very like shaking to the ego. And in the mornings, what I've noticed was I kind of just, allow everything to be as it is. But it's just, I don't know how to put it, but like when I meet these people, it's like this deep, deep, deep like connection. It feels like on soul level. It's like I hardly know them for like, like a week or so, but like there's something that's there. It feels like it's very, very deep. So the only way I could like kind of logically put it in my mind is like maybe it's from past lives and things like that.
Mm, mm.
And
So
yeah,
when you're meeting, so there's two things kind of happening there. It sounds like you're seeing patterns. It's like you're meeting. There's a recognition of a certain pattern, but also a meeting on it feels like a deep soul level as well.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that's perfect. It's like, to me, when we have relationships, like if I look at the relationships that I've had over the years, there's been very clear patterns that have played out. Things that in romantic or partner relationships, stuff going back to the mother, and at the beginning, forming, what it is that we feel love is. Our mother sort of model, our parents model what love
yeah,
is, and then we come to see whatever pattern is in play with that, and usually it's there's a growth process in that. So and we tend to, no matter how we try to escape it, it's like we end up with
mm,
our mother over and over again, and in different ways,
yeah,
and from different. It's like almost like a spiral of
yeah,
learning as we go around, and yeah, but it's that feeling like that, what you're feeling, like that deep soul connection is important. So I think the two go together, the seeing of the pattern. It is like these relationships are like mirrors for us. So whatever we see in the mirror, whatever pattern is in the mirror, it's actually reflecting what we haven't cleared in our own mind. So when we see that pattern, what the person, that deep soul connection is the deeper level. So there is no, like, when you see past the person, it's all the one consciousness, playing that person. So when you see the person, the ego, and the pattern, then it's an opportunity to see, it's the mind. The mind is picking out that pattern, and the attention goes to the pattern rather than the deeper truth of this being that is there. So it's beautiful. It's a perfect mirror, to see when we see the pattern rather than the being, the true being. Then it's perfect. We get to see what's still in play within our own body mind. And this is, and it's normal. I mean, when we have a relationship, most people on the planet, they don't see the other partner truly as they are. They see the filter of whatever conditioning they've got from their parents and their life. So it's valuable, to see that conditioning is extremely valuable, and there's nothing to do about it other than to see it and just fully make it conscious. Oh, you're muted there. Hang on.
yeah. There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's just like in that moment, it's like so overwhelming. Um, because I think there's like a kind of a fear because of that pattern that's like kind of built up,
Yeah.
and like in that moment, when I'm going through all of that stuff, because I think recently, I started to integrate what you're saying of just being there, but it's like you could get kind of, it's like a switch between the ego and then like noticing that is ego. Mm.
Yeah. So with those, it seems like life is bringing you these opportunities, and the people coming, the same person in different forms. So
Yeah.
my question is, is there, like in those relationships or in those connections, is there any wanting, or you know is there any thing that you want to unfold in that, or the way I would say it is, like, is the character interested, or is there a belief that, like, an external relationship will bring some sort of fulfillment, or goodness into life, or a fulfillment maybe.
Mm. So I think over the years, there's like a hope that, because I've been through so many psychics, I say, oh, you'll end up meeting these type of people, and these are the patterns and stuff. So there's that kind of hope in the character, but there's also a deep knowing that, that even if I get a relationship, like last week, this knowing came. For many years, I tried to kind of get into a type of work that I kind of really kind of like. And I thought that, okay, if I work hard, I study my certifications and I get it, I'll be happy. And that's not true. So it's kind of like, me seeing like, okay, no matter what I actually may want from the mind, if I get it, it's not it.
Yeah.
So I'm left with like where I am. Basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And
Mm.
I think all of these relationships are really to show us that, like, if I'm looking
Yeah.
for anything in objective reality, to complete myself or fulfill myself, or if I'm trying to get anything from my partner, then yeah, there's a lesson there. There's, that projection into the objective world, that's Maya. It's the illusion. So,
Mm.
yeah. So to me, that's how we use these things as mirrors. And the paradox then of all of it is that, once I'm no longer, looking for something from a partner, I'm no longer trying to get something from them, then I'm free to actually, I've relieved them of the burden of trying to fulfill my little character, so then I can have a real relationship, and that, that soul connection, that depth that you described, that can start to bloom then, when I'm not trying to get something from that partner.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Hmm. Thank you. Go to Yuli. Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
everybody. I like to check in with a sorry, with a rewiring process, um, which is happening, and I have two major trigger in my life. The one is my migraine. I know it's connected to nervous system, trauma, energy of childhood, and the other one is regarding maybe the same, the interaction between my husband and my son when we are on a video chat or something. This has happened on Sunday again. There's a huge trigger when I feel he's disconnected from him and love is not flowing. It's triggering something in me not being seen, or this love. So what are my question is, also with a migraine. And this one, this is really, it's a huge pain. And what I did the last time yesterday, and with a migraine last year, it happened. I try to come really, really close to this intense feelings. This is how I do inquiry, and I just want to check in if I'm missing something. So yesterday I was really drawn to this deep, dark place, because this interaction between my husband and son really triggered in me a deep, deep, like you could say, depression, dark place. I haven't been in for a long time, but it came up to me, and I was not inquiring. I couldn't find a distance. Oh, here's awareness, and here is this feeling. It was not this. I was drawn to go in really, really deep into this feeling, and there I could find this feeling of love, which is rejected, or I could find this deep, deep rooted sadness and love. And it also happened with the migraine feeling I did last year. I came really, really close, not to avoid it, really, really close. And there was a kind of, I felt like the Shiva consciousness, or a consciousness which is I'm offering to this really abandoned, hardcore feeling. Oh God, I hope I can speak clear. But there was this love. I offered, not me, but I wasn't resisting this awareness, which was love. And then it shifted in a way. So, but I wasn't inquiring, I wasn't, oh, who's experiencing, I cannot do it. But I was really going deep into this feeling. And I found this is like, at least now somebody is really there to be with this heavy feelings. So this is what I did. And I don't know if I'm missing something, or I just wanted to check in, because they are really huge triggers. The migraine and this husband something is really triggering something deep
Yeah,
in a pattern.
amazing. So that awareness, that sort of loving awareness, just naturally transmuted those traumas or samskaras, or so what you're describing, that is the inquiry. So so sometimes with the inquiry, people think that it sounds like we're questioning with the mind, like who am I? But what you're describing sounds like the awareness, that awareness. Do you feel that awareness is here in this moment? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that when we inquire, when we intend to directly experience who we are, we're not looking for some answer on the level of mind. We're looking for that awareness that is just here, right now. That's it. So that loving awareness is it. That is what we're inquiring into. That's what we are actually, and what you're describing, that clearing process. If there's a willingness to truly feel those feelings that have been pushed away, that's beautiful. That you allowed that. You fully allowed yourself to have those experiences, and that's it. And so the one that experienced that, the awareness, it's the same awareness that's here now. And so whatever the mind thinks it's looking for in self-inquiry, the mind gets all kinds of ideas about self-inquiry, thinking it has to verbally ask a question, but it's so simple. That awareness, it's just this ordinary awareness that's here. And if we can just rest in this awareness, just fully experiencing everything, even the deepest, darkest traumas, awareness, it can embrace and love all of it. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not missing somebody who is seeing all this, because I cannot do it. I go so much, it's one. I'm one with this experience of darkness and pain. And so is it correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's no, yeah, it's just you, it's just you. It's the mind, if the mind finds something that it thinks is is you, that's an object somewhere out there, it's crazy. So yeah, this whole self-inquiry thing that we're doing, it's sort of a setup for the mind to fail. The mind will always fail to find the truth. And so over time, the mind just lets go in the process. And then what remains is just this ordinary awareness that's here. So you've come to it in a different way. You've come to it in a very direct way. And
Because I was really drawn to go into this was really a
yeah,
pull just to go into this feeling, not to be
yeah,
stay, which I
yeah,
did for many years, like, oh, I don't want to feel it. But I
yeah.
was really pulled to go into it. There was no
Yeah.
other way what I could do at this moment. So
And so that feeling, those experiences, I imagine that those were very potent experiences for you. Like you've got an insight, in a direct insight into how it works now. So that's it. Like, just trust that. There's an intelligence that guided you to that experience, and so it doesn't matter what techniques or teachers are saying, like that. That's your direct experience of the truth, and of how that clearing process works. So yeah, I would say, like, keep going with that. Whatever led you to that, just fully trust that. Yeah.
okay. And
Hmm.
there were no thoughts or how long I will stay in this dark place. So yeah, it just happened, and then it dissolved a little
Yeah.
bit. It
Yeah.
went, but there was no questioning. Oh my God, how long? And am I depressed now forever or whatever? So this was not there. So
Yeah, beautiful. And so now that you know kind of how it works, then you can start to explore that in every facet of life, because everything is that. When we fully allow everything to be, and just experience it fully without that resistance. Yeah.
thank you.
Hmm. Thank you.
Thank you then.
Mhm. Go to Eva. Hi, Eva.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for your time. And thank you for being for us here. And hello to group.
Mm.
I start to feel all of you, and that's pretty cool. um, yeah, I wanted to share where I'm at. I had an incredible experience today. Few things coming up, but I want to clear. Maybe it's good for me because I relate to so much shares, quote, clearings before me. So it's pretty roller coaster. So it's going up and down, in and out. It was last week again on the floor crying. Um, Incredible sadness, pain, then slowly coming out. There is that. Thank you, Lee, for your share. There is mine that's a little immediately like the character Eva had experienced a very heavy depression, and it's always fear. You're going back there. So then it was like tremendous. Um, it's I just relaxed. So then there is like coming back. It's almost like I say that with really like not mine. This energy is forcing me. I say that forcing me with some very, very weird way. I don't know if that's my mind to do things. So when I let go what I planned, what Eva planned, what she wants to do, because she's going all around, running around, do things, and it's not letting me. So when I just sit and be, then the pain slowly, literal pain in body and headaches ease a little bit. There are change in appetite. Oh my God, I shared yesterday in a Dyad. It's craving a lot of grease food, like very much so, a lot of food. And I had that thought like, oh man, this whole awakening is gonna make me fat, you know. That was the Eva, because Eva is running and I'm not. I cannot literally exercise. And I don't know if we shared, like I have a half marathon in 6 days coming. I didn't run at all. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Eva before would be so in the zone, like, yeah, completely disciplined. And I'm here eating like fried chicken. What a, like, man, is this awakening? So that's one part that I want to just even say out loud and to laugh about it, because for the character, it's so hard to let go. The control, the planning, the doing, the thing.
Yeah. So you said one thing. Yeah, it feels like the energy making me do things. So that's interesting. So who is that me? You know, who is that me that feels like, you know, it feels like there's a separation from that energy, right? So, you know, so there's like a split maybe there, you know. So it's like that there's a me that feels like it wants to do something, but the energy's making me do something else.
Not do. Not even more so.
Or just
Not
being.
do anything.
Just
Yes.
being. Just being. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that yeah. So just nothing to do except just be seeing who is that me that feels like the energy, you know, is wants something else, right? It has that me that has the different agenda, you know. Who is that?
That's even like almost what the character needed, I want to say. Like all, and there is a sense of crumbling entire like current life around 3D life around Eva is really completely going in a different direction, or actually not going anywhere. And that's what's for this character the hardest part. To release that control, to release of not knowing, for example, what's going to be in 5 days on the half marathon, or am I going to show up at all? And that is a little bit of, when I say the energy, when I don't think, and it's okay, that there is just a surrender and trust that this is unfolding in the right way, and I don't know. Then there is like that, I say the energy leaves me, like the pain leaves me, the in my body, literally, the exhaustion leaves me. I feel just a little bit at ease. So that's how I say I'm following the energy
Beautiful.
in some way.
Yeah.
And
that's it. Yeah. So you're getting it. You're getting it. That's it. It's just, you know, we just don't want to be divided within ourselves, and that's it. So even whatever, you know, Eva is, you know, like it's like the character, you know, that was in control, you know, running marathons like this. The character is like, yeah, it's, you know, an amazing achiever. So it's not used to being in the back seat of the vehicle now, but it's still it's gets to do everything still, but now it's just something else has taken over the direction, and so we don't want to, you know, it's like, to me the character is like, it's almost like having a pet, Like we have
Mm-hmm.
we love our pet, we love our character, we love that part of us, and and wherever our vehicle is going, there's this sense of the pet will trust the master, or trust that direction, so
Yes.
we don't want to, make it, so that we're in a fight against anything. It's that we just love the character as it is,
Mm-hmm.
and not create any division. So even when those patterns are there, like we have pets at our house, and the Dan character is no different. It's, it has its,
Yeah.
it loves chocolate. It loves, doing all the things that it does. And it's like, you give it a little treat sometimes, allow, the human part to just be what it is, but we find a balance with all of that.
Yeah, I love that. I heard in one of your videos when I was in retreat, like almost having a pet, and that's when I laugh the most. But it's for me, it's like that. Somebody said the discipline, the rituals that they're all somehow dissolving, and it is feeling. So I said, it's roller coaster, feeling like identity is stripping down. And it's so easy to jump in to 3D obligations 5, but that's what I want to just clear there. There is stronger sense of difference. And if I may share something with a group, because for me it's a first experience, and I'm thank you, Matthew and Judith and Kyle, for your patience. I Something extraordinary happened to me today, and I even was thinking, should I share or let it sink in? So my whole experience with this, led by science, is with you guys. It's online, right? And today I got to meet a lady I don't know in 3D life. I don't know her very well. So this is the whole story that happened today. And we slowly started to talk, and I was there to talk, give her a little bit of support and so on. Then somehow conversation landed on the spiritual path. And what I talk with you guys, I don't talk to people around me, because I tried and they looked like, oh, she got insane, I cannot explain what I'm feeling by this experience, because my mind is telling me, yeah, lady, you got insane, but it's undeniable somehow, right? So one by one, I suggested just her something today, and I say, do you want to try something with me? It's called Dyad. It's a practice. And I explained her a little bit, and she said, sure. So we sat down. I explained how it's apparently working. So I never had Dyad in person ever. She sat across me, and I didn't know even her, let's say, state under the quote of spiritual. Yeah. So I'm doing this every day because I'm clear in my mind, and I need it. In a second, Dan, in a second, I asked her, I gave her an imperative. It was the most tremendous spiritual experience for her and me. She started to cry. All the rules, everything that I heard in your short, like, it was direct experience. She so immediately showed me her true self. It was scary, it was terrifying, it was exciting. I started to cry. It literally, I'm sharing to you guys that I have this visual experience, mostly in the dyad, when the graphic of reality changes. It become almost like a pixels, right? So that came immediately. Very strangely, it came for her. When we stopped the dyad, it was just one exchange, which took some time. I said, oh, can you share me your experience, like how it was? And it was tremendous. So I guess you probably have those in person. For me, it was the first time. And it was mind-blowing. I cannot explain, but it's mind-blowing.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah. Wow, it's yeah, when both people are there, it's like you meet in this place that is it's like magic. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
that that you know, it's like for other people who are doing dyads, like, you know, that intuition that you had to share that with her, um, that's beautiful. You know, like you can do that with your family, your friends, but not with everyone though. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never done dyads with my family because it's just yeah. It's I know it wouldn't make necessarily, but maybe someday. You know, but yeah, it's beautiful, and there's
Incredible.
something in you knew that that was
Mm-hmm.
possible with this person. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
so that intuition is very alive for you right now. So that's amazing. And yeah, and we get these little nudges sometimes. Like we know we meet somebody and we just know that something is possible. And so it's beautiful that you followed that intuition and you actually made that
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
It was scary for a moment. She never ever knew what it is. She never tried it because she was the first one going. I want to share the emotions that came online. It was, and I was like, okay, am I doing this right? So my mind was, okay, I need to, everything's gonna be okay because I didn't want to get her in some scary place
Yeah.
because I heard you say that a lot of things can come out, a
Yeah.
lot of pain. And so, yeah, and that's something I just want to share. And thank you, everybody, for your patience and being here. So I send you all my love and thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Beautiful sharing. Thank you. Go to Matthew. There.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, Dan. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, so I wanted to check, and look maybe with you and get your input or feedback. Because actually, this past few days, I had much more time on my hands, and it's funny because I see that something in me longs deeply for silence. And yet, when I have the chance, also, I see I end up running away from silence a lot. And I sense
Maud,
or
guck mal, wer da kommt, Timmy.
there's
Right.
another one unmuted. No?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's muted now. Yeah.
And I sense that actually something here is afraid of freedom, I've been like there's obviously there's a longing which brought me to this path, and also obviously to a certain degree the call, if I can say, has been being answered, which brings me to meetings like this again and again, but at the same time I do sense that there's a running away somehow. And I guess what came quite strongly these days also is almost like a fear of death, as if freedom means death in a way,
That's so that is a profound insight. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting when we, you know, that fear of death and fear of life, you know, are really one and the same. Yeah, it's you know that freedom. You know, when we enter into this sort of not knowing, you know, when we enter into the now or, you know, this present moment, it can feel like a little death within the character. You know, there's a real not knowing. You know, it's like some of the examples we were talking about today. Like if we let go of the past and the memory and all the what is known, yeah, that freedom to just be here, you know, without any, you know, information and baggage and memory, you know, it is to the little self, that can feel like a death. That fear comes up. So it is one and the same. The freedom from all of the past, the freedom to be here is like a death.
Yeah. Can I express also what somehow honestly sounds very, it scares, I guess, the character here quite a lot, is when I hear this idea, no, for example, of like, I guess, like, as an awakened being, what happens when the body drops, in this sense that there's no more, for example, no more reincarnations, no more, like, in a way, something means like, what does that even mean, because like, if there's nothing binding, like, I don't know, it feels like without the body, there's no experiencing, or I'm not sure, but it's like there's a fear of the almost at the end of experiencing, like if I really do, if, like, let's say, all, to put these words, if like all karmic bonds are cleaned, slate is clean, and the body is dropped, then what? It's a bit like that, it's like,
Yeah.
it sounds like
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. Well, and that, the fear, whatever that fear is, what I've realized in my own path, I've moved through a lot of fear within the body mind, and the fear is never actualized. The fear, like the object of the fear, is actually never seen. Like there's that saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. So it's interesting, like the awakening, recognizing what we are. It's like in the Heart Sutra where the Buddha says, there's that recognition or that liberation. There's no old age and death, but at the same time, there's no end to old age and death. So actually nothing changes in the awakening is just recognizing the truth of what we are. That I'm not, like, the old age and death is happening within the character. So the Matthew character gets born, it dies, but when we find out who we are, we recognize, this awareness that we are was never born. It never dies. It just is. So so there's no, for you, for the true you, there's no old age and death. But for Matthew or for the Dan character, there's no end to old age and death. There's no end to, the body's going to go through whatever it's going to go through. And this is the non-dual truth, of all of it. So it doesn't actually change anything. Awakening doesn't change, what the character may go through, or, it doesn't eliminate. There's no magical transcending of the human experience, but yet we wake up from, it's just the sense of I is no longer with the character, and that's it. So it's waking up from the delusion that I'm this character.
If I can still ask, because somehow it still comes to this here, it's but then when this body, for as long as it lasts, and then it's dropped somehow, is, I guess, that unknown of what is after, if we can say it like this, and I guess, like, the wave going back to the ocean, I don't know, for some reason it brings some deep-rooted fear.
Yeah. And so that's when that fear comes up, if it's coming up now in this moment, or, in your practice, whatever your sadhana is, just, that's perfect to inquire, who does that fear belong to? Who is, there's an awareness, like the body mind, that fear is just, it comes and goes. It's not always there, right? So it's part of the objective world. It's part of the body mind, the character. So fear is arising. It's got a certain feeling, sensations, so we can experience it fully, and then it passes, but who are you that remains continuously? Who's the one that watches that fear come and go within the character?
Thank you.
Thank you. Judith.
Hi.
Hello.
Let's see. So I did the 3-day self-inquiry,
Yes.
and I found it transformative in some way. And I don't know why I'm so emotional. Anyway, transformative in a way where like aspects of my life don't make sense anymore. And okay, and I've hit moments like this before on this sort of long path, I guess. And then there's parts of me that want to just keep doing whatever the character was doing because it's familiar, and there's a lot of things invested, things like that. And I don't quite know what it looks like if I don't keep doing what the character is doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's an unknown, and and you mentioned there are things that don't really make sense anymore in life. So like things that have sort of lost their meaning or purpose. Is that it?
Yeah, and I'm very purpose driven, right? Sort of my work was in purpose driven organizational change, and like so purpose has been a big part of my experience in life. And I've had I know most of us here have had a very long or a many chaptered path or journey, and mine has been that way.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like I keep getting drawn to different things. And so I was drawn to this, and I was drawn to do the self-inquiry and the Dyads. And sometimes I'm like, well, I'm just curious, like, because I work in transformation work, I do personal transformation work and organizational transformation work. And I'm like, I just want to experience these things. But I'm drawn to them as well. It's not random. It's not that I'm out there having lots of experiences. It's like I'm drawn to certain things. And then it's the character wants it to just be an experience that isn't changing us in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, the
But
character wants to just play out its pattern
yeah,
continuously, and just
yeah,
maybe do it on a weekend retreat, but then go back to
yeah,
the pattern.
go
Yeah,
back to everything.
yeah,
And this was like one of these things where it was like, and I've experienced lots of things that didn't have the same impact, I guess.
mm-hmm.
And somehow it did in such a way that like I can see, and just to, I don't know if this is helpful or not, but I am like I said before, I've mentioned that I'm trained in internal family systems. So I've sort of done lots of different things. And then I also do, or have been doing Joe Dispenza work. So if you're familiar with that, but that's sort of like a path, right? And so now, and there's something within that, which I'm super grateful for that work. But within that, it was drawing me, like I knew I wanted something different or deeper in a way, and it drew me to this. And so somehow, but I have a lot invested in that path, and it isn't so much about whether or not I continue with that work. It has that there's an aspect of it that's work that I can bring to other people, right? Because I want to be of service. But now I can see like there's something about when I'm in my life versus I'm observing the character in a life. And so with that kind of work, the Joe Dispenza stuff and everything else, it's like I see it all seems silly to me now. And I see this character over there doing this thing. And then I feel that where I am right now, and I might ultimately see this as silly and something, right? Something like that could happen too. But right now it's as though I'm in this, I'm here. There's not a separation between me and then this character that's in the unknown and somewhat frightened, let's say. So I'm not feeling this big separation there. But on the other path, it just seems like I can just see this, the character that was me on that path doing that thing. And I had this experience in my life. I went through a big time of change in 2008. I had it was much more, I mean, it's truly transformative. And that one, it was sort of like it was an awakening of some kind. And then I just didn't know what to do with that. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to go. I had no idea what I was doing. It wasn't like I was trying to do that or anything like that. And then I just didn't know what to do. And I just was like, well, I'm going to have to go back into like my life and the world that makes sense and act like I care about this stuff. And, it was like this whole thing. And so, and then when I started on this journey, because things happen in one's life that I think bring people into sort of these next stages or next levels. So that started for me about 4 years ago. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm not going to sort of see something and then try to walk back into the life that I had and a path that doesn't feel right to me because it'll just keep happening again and again and again. So it's just kind of, so anyways, I think I was just wanting to, it's unsettling and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
wanting to see if there's any reflection from you on your journey and
Yeah.
path of like these moments, like what happens and where do you go? Do you just try to, and I knew when I made that choice in 2008, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go back asleep. I hope I don't go really back asleep. But it was like strange because I didn't really know most of what I've learned since. And it was like,
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful what you're describing. Like seeing the script and seeing the pattern is so key. Like, and I love, like I've been through the same thing on my own path, doing all sorts of spiritual things. I never got into Joe Dispenza, but I know what that's all about, and but other things, yogic things, and yeah, all kinds of, sound healing. All these things were amazing and beautiful experiences, but it was all the character experiencing those things. So when you see that script, you see that character and all it was doing, that is awakening. That's really what awakening is seeing the character in all of its patterns and detail and realizing that you're not that character. So, but there's a radical freedom in that. It's like a terrible freedom. It's like to the character, it seems that way, because like quite often, people are like, okay, what do I do now? What happens now? I see the script, I see the character, but yet, what's meant to unfold from this, and the mind can sometimes come back and through the back door try and stay alive in all different ways. So there's a period of time sometimes where we can just allow just being, just allow ourselves to be. And there's a deep purification that usually happens after awakening, where the remaining samskaras, all that conditioning, will try to reestablish itself, and we can just watch that process. There's nothing to do. And I have a sense that you can feel when things are not authentic. You can feel when it, you can't go back into that box anymore.
Yeah.
The box is, you've been blown out of that box. So it's not going to feel right to activate the old script. And then whatever's meant to come will just come. There's sometimes a long period where we're just being, just allowing those samskaras to get purified and the old script to burn up. And then, within that, there can be an aliveness that starts to come. And we can't make that happen. There might be an excitement about something totally insane that it was never even on the radar, or maybe, energy just starts to explore, or maybe there's something that is from the past that it's like it gets reborn in a new way, maybe an old skill, or an old, or maybe it's a new skill, who knows? But I trust in that unfolding, like whatever, if we can just be, and not try to make anything happen, just noticing, that mind, that the mind doesn't like that space of just being, wants to reestablish itself. So just noticing what comes up in that space, and that's it, and whatever's meant to happen from there, it's just, I trust in that unfolding. There's an intelligence to that process, and it is almost like a germination process. It's like, like the caterpillar in the cocoon. Something's happening, but we don't really know what, and it looks sometimes kind of messy, and but I trust there's an intelligence unfolding. And,
Yeah, I think it is like that. And what's happened is I kind of hit this moment of like, this is not really like me either, just complete inertia.
yeah.
It was just like, and this is only like the last few, it was only a few weeks ago, like it wasn't that long ago. And then it's just sort of this moment of inertia. And then I've learned enough, I think, by now to just trust, like, because I'm not going to be able to go against myself, my true self. Like I can't really go against that. And I think the other thing that I noticed that was strange, because I started to notice it in Joe Dispenza work before, it didn't really bother me. It made me feel as though like he was in the past and I was in the future. Like I could see him and I was like, but this is the past, but this is the past.
Yeah.
And then it's not just that I see my scripts, I see his scripts, I see his character. And so it's kind of like, and I start to see that now. So I see me as a character and him as this character, and the whole thing is the stage. And it's just like, it's strange. And so it feels like that's not me, that's not my life, even though it's amazing stuff. Like there's nothing, there's no fault with it. There's nothing
no
wrong
problem.
with it. There's no problem, but then I'm like, but somehow it's not quite me.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
like you've been playing a character, and now you realize, you're not that character. So
yeah.
so you can't believe in being that character anymore. So and that, so now, there, I think, like for me, there's a deepening, in this after waking up from a character, then there's just a recognition of being, just being here. And if we can just allow that beingness to be what it is, it can be completely fulfilling itself. Like my fulfillment doesn't have to come from creating some new character. It doesn't have to come from anything in the objective world. But it flows from being, just from the fact that I am, it's complete in and of itself. So, so when, and the paradox with that is, when we really come to that, we're not looking for anything in the external world, then we're just open, and life will move us wherever it's going to move us. And, we don't know what that's going to look like. It really is a don't know mind. But if we, just feel that beingness, this moment is complete in itself, like what's missing in this moment, right here and now,
Thank you.
Thank you. Kyle, last but not least.
There we go. Got to navigate that tricky mute situation.
Yes.
Oh, man. I started with your 7-day meditation in January, and I did the 3-day Dyad training in March. And those teachings, those experiences have brought me to this really fascinating place. And in the last few days, I've kind of been like, I should mention too, after the 3-day Dyad, I did do a plant ceremony, which is perfectly timed. And at the end of the third day, I'm going to say plant medicine, but it starts at the beginning of the alphabet, if that helps anyone, if they're curious. And by the third day, I arrived at this deep realization that's the realization that all your teachings are trying to teach me, which is how to be still. So and it's just weird. It's just weird because it's like, it's everything. It's like, everything has been coming to that. And so like, I've been in this, not a weird, but just interesting space. I'm like, what the fuck do I do with all this? Because I've been like the last like couple of weeks, I've just been noticing everything almost instantaneously. I just see it's a lesson to be still.
Yeah.
And there's a complete knowing and there's complete relaxation. I don't ever need to engage with the external story in a way that is not aligned with that. This is for you to be still, and you'll know what to do, if anything. And most likely you'll just say, be still more. And you'll just be completely at peace with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so that's why I wanted to get on this call, is that it's kind of like, I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's like blowing my mind. And I can't talk to anyone about this because before they told me this on the third night, they made me keep it a secret. It's really funny. And also because like, I needed to keep this secret because a lot of times people, if I go this directly, they'll get lost. They won't, no, they can't see down yet how that far down the rabbit hole. And so I just kind of want to share, this is what's been going on. It's beautiful. Everything is amazing. Like everything in my life is amazing.
Awesome.
It's
beautiful.
there's no props. I don't come on here because for me, and I know a lot of people are struggling, so I don't want to undermine that, but it just is so beautiful. So I wonder if you can like just comment, because I don't have anyone I could say this to and can know what I'm talking about for me, but also for the group, anything that I'm sharing that could be useful as, teaching stillness, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. That, I've said it many times. My favorite phrase probably on the planet is be still and know, and
right.
And that's it. Like literally that is the complete path. So
I literally am writing a book on my experience. And when I got to the third night of that ceremony and realized it's all about stillness, I'm like, oh shit, I got to rewrite my whole book that I've written so far. And the first words in my book is be still and know.
Beautiful.
And it's like, and I knew, I'm like, that's duh. That's how you got to start. And then each chapter is, how is this not a teaching of what my experience was, but more, how is this a teaching of come back to stillness?
Yeah.
And I saw all the things that were like kind of visible but somewhat hidden that were really magical. I'm like, oh my God, it's a moment when I was still.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, like that teaching, be still and know, there's like there's it's deepened as I've gone on my path. So at the beginning, it seemed like it was an invitation to, still the mind and come to the witness. But then there, which it is, when we start out in the busy mind. But so for people at different stages on the path, they'll hear that differently. There can be a recognition, like, be the stillness, like recognize that you are the stillness, recognize what you are as the stillness. So and the deepening of that is, to recognize that stillness within everything, with that being within everything. And so the deepening of it is, there's no more stillness and movement. There's just this beingness that it encompasses all of it. And
the unified field.
yeah, that's it. So it's not even stillness. Stillness is just a word. There isn't, but there's just what is, this whole manifested world that appears to be moving, and this field of changing phenomena is actually the stillness as well, which sounds insane, but it is.
I know, that's why I come on here and talk to you about this, because this is the only place it doesn't feel insane.
Yeah, like to the mind, these polarities, and like stillness and movement, or fullness and emptiness, all of that, that's Maya. That's the conditioned world, is the split, these dualities. But then when we, however we get there through plant medicines and through inquiry, we drop the conceptual mind, we drop whatever it is that's creating that split within us. And
and it's all effortless.
Yeah, it's just it's direct.
It's just relaxing.
Yeah.
I discovered, like, the way that I become still is when I notice I'm not still.
Yeah.
And I just allow myself to relax. And I just keep relaxing. And then eventually I notice the stillness that's coming out of that calm feeling of being relaxed. And then I just notice more of the stillness. And then I started to notice that the stillness is completely silent. That inside the stillness is completely silent. And I would feel that silence. And when I felt the silence and the stillness, it would just expand into spaciousness that is bound by nothing. And that's the unified field. And then I just do this shit with my clients. Like, I had two sessions before this, why I came on late. And all I did was sit in my own field of oneness and stillness as they're talking. And I would intuitively know what to do or say. And a lot of the times just still be the stillness. And I had one client that visited aliens. I'm not even making this shit up. Like, she had an experience, of going into the galaxy and having aliens do light work on her. And I had another client who's a videographer that saw wisdom as generational via a 3-dimensional picture of a foreground, midground, and background.
Yeah, amazing.
It's bananas.
This stillness, to me, the stillness is the singularity. So it's the creative source of the universe. So it's everything, all those possibilities are there in the stillness. Somehow, anything can come out of that. Everything that all, like, if I look at my life right now, it appears, if somebody were to look at the external of my life, there appears to be movement. I'm creating films and music and all of that, but it's all mysterious. It's all coming out of that singularity. It's all arising out of that stillness. And
then when we create things, like, my first thing is to be still, to see the creation through the eyes of the creator. As spaciousness, as that unified field. And I just allow whatever comes up to come up, and I just report on, like a dyad.
Yeah.
It's basically a dyad. I'm having awesome with myself.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is an endless rabbit hole, but it's
Yeah.
it's been such a huge discovery, and you've been such a huge part of that. And so I just wanted to get your take, because if you say I'm not insane, then I believe it.
Yeah.
And but more so, just really a thank you for your teaching in this. It's amazing. It really is.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's no, you're not insane. It's totally
I'm a little
yeah.
crazy, but
Yeah.
I let my crazy part out like a little
Well,
kitten sometimes.
this is the paradox is like society hears conversations like this. You know, your average ego mind will think this is insane, but you know, from the flip side, the way most people live on the planet is actually what's insane. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like Krishnamurti nailed it. He said it's no measure of your sanity to be well adjusted to an insane world. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
That's why I want a sane person to tell me I'm sane, not an insane person. That's bad.
yes, yes, awesome.
Anyway,
All
thank
right,
you so much. Appreciate it.
thanks. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, Mitch, are you there? Get you to unmute if you are there.
Dan.
Hello. Hello there.
Hi. You can hear me, okay?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. This is probably even better now. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to check in about a few things coming up in the Dyads.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is that I notice like it's just like the same as meditating for me. Like it's just like so beautiful and so I just drop into silence like really quickly and then the mind has nothing to say. And then maybe like I'll just like here and there throw out a few things that it's saying. But like it's very yeah, it's just very silent. And so my question is like, because I know you've mentioned that it's a really good place for the shadow stuff to come up.
Yeah.
And what I notice is like for me, the same as meditation, like maybe some stuff trickles in, but it's very light and you know, I just notice it and I'm not reacting, and so it just fades away. But then in life, it's, you know, it's all there. So it's kind of this contrast of like daily life, shadow is shadowing. And then when I'm sitting to try and like really meet it, it's not really there.
Mm-hmm. So when you receive the imperative, like when your partner says, "Tell me who you are," can you describe what happens in that moment? If I say, "Tell me who you are right now."
Yeah, just immediately I feel like a wave of peace, and then it just gets very quiet
Yeah.
and still.
Beautiful. Yeah. So in that, you know, so is there any part of the mind that is looking for something when you receive that imperative? Like, is the mind trying to find who you are, or is you're just resting with that peace that comes?
It's mostly the latter. Like in this moment, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So that there, yeah. So there's nothing. You know, the mind, you know, might feel in that space that there's something to do or something to achieve or even something to clear. You know, maybe the mind will think there's more samskaras to clear, but you know, but you can just be in that. You know, just be in that peace. There's actually nothing to do except recognize the beingness that is here, and
Yeah, it doesn't actually look for that in the moment. It's more after when I hear you talking and you're like, oh, this is
yeah,
good for clearing some scars.
yeah,
And I'm like, well, it's
yeah.
not
So
happening.
no, like when you receive the imperative, like either one of two things is going to happen. Like you'll either directly experience the beingness that is here, and if you're experiencing peace and you're not looking for anything other than what's here, you know you're not looking for yourself, then the truth of who you are is just that beingness that is here. So either the mind will come up with stuff to clear, it'll be looking for something or trying to do something, or you just rest in beingness, just enjoy the bliss of the present moment. And so there's nothing, we don't have to make anything happen. We don't have to manufacture any experience or look for any experience. It's just allowing what's here.
Okay, I think the question comes from the fact that like it's not like this is my daily experience, and so that some scars are coming up normally, and I do want to get to the root of them and just
Yeah.
like, clear them.
Yeah, and that will not naturally happen. So as you recognize this beingness that is just here, it's almost like, the dyads are, it's like they're unhooking us from the usual conditioned pattern. And, so we unhook from the conditioned self, and we're just being in this peaceful presence, and we can more and more become familiar with the awareness that is just here. So when we go back into day-to-day life, the samskaras come up, but there may be a bit of that beingness that is present. We can do that all the time. Like we can, if a samskara, if we're in a relationship or a situation, we can do that same, whatever we're doing in that dyad to unhook, to just be here. We can do that in life continuously, recognizing the awareness that is just here, and more and more we can just be in the situation without getting identified with whatever is happening.
Okay, yeah, I think that because I have a history of doing that and it turns into bypassing, like, I just had a long period where I was just blissing out all the time, and I thought everything was perfect, and nothing to do, and I was just being all day, and it was wonderful. And then my body like broke down, and, and I got all these, and I think I told you that. So it just told me like you were just bypassing. Like there was a lot of stuff that needed to come up and to be felt and dealt with.
Yeah.
So I'm nervous to keep doing that, even though that's the natural.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a paradox here. So so the just allowing and the just being, is the space that invites these samskaras to come to the surface. So if there's a part of the mind that is chasing the bliss or chasing the experience, then yes, it becomes a total bypass. But if we're truly just being with what is, then that is the space that allows these deeper samskaras to come up, to be felt. And it may feel like it's like there might be identification in that moment where something is happening and the sense of I goes to that. But we just kind of surrender, do our best to have a complete experience of whatever's coming up in that moment. There's no right or wrong to it. Sometimes you get taken by, it feels like you get taken by the experience. Other times it's like we can sort of surrender and allow that complete experience to be just more consciously. But yeah, so it's good. Like the fact that the bypassing is on your radar is really good. It means you're aware of it. You're not going to get caught into it, and you can allow then, like the bypassing is all it is it's an unwillingness to experience something that wants to be experienced. So the fact that you know that, you see that, it's conscious, so you're not going to fall into that. So now you can, whatever comes up, you can have a complete experience of those emotions and those, whatever's been pushed into the unconscious.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because I think there was a subtle resistance that I was just calling, like, I'm just choosing self. I'm just choosing to rest as the truth of what I am, instead of feeding these thoughts and sensations. But it was really also a subtle resisting of them.
Yeah.
And
I think
yeah.
everybody goes through that at some point. Like we all want to feel good. We want to feel bliss. And the paradox is that, if we start chasing it, then it's just like any drug. Eventually it'll wear out, and then we're faced with what's underneath that. So so nothing to do except just make that fully conscious, and it sounds like you're already doing that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the other thing that comes up for me in the dyads is that I notice a lot of people use like this third person language. And it's like, I get it, like I get where that comes from, but it feels so unnatural. Like,
yeah, it's not necessary. It's
okay.
Yeah, whatever feels authentic for you. Yeah, sometimes people will, they start talking about the character and yeah, and quite often it's the character talking about the character.
Yeah, well, of course, who else is talking?
Yeah, it's like yeah, so it's a way, there's a knowingness adopting this kind of non-dual language, and it can just become part of a spiritual persona. And but sometimes it can be useful to create, to sort of bring us to the witness, but other times it can just be just another way of a spiritual persona to stay alive. So whatever feels authentic. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it's like the more I'm hearing it, the more I'm like starting to like question myself. Like it's almost it's almost like I feel like I've stepped into a different like outfit that everyone's decided to put on. Like in normal world, the outfit is just the ego, and then now we've put on a spiritual, like
Exactly.
talking about the ego from the third person, and it's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, no, and that's great that you're catching these patterns. These are very subtle ways that the ego appropriates this whole process. So it's amazing that you're catching that, because so we just sort of feel our way with it, like the truth of who you are is like, you're seeing all of these false, they're contractions really within our being. When it doesn't feel authentic and real, if I'm just using non-dual language or trying to be something, it doesn't feel alive. It doesn't feel authentic. So we're feeling our way with all of this, and wherever we end up, it's we trust that aliveness that's coming through. And so it seems like your inner compass is working. You're steering away from these things.
Yeah, I think it's also it brings up a familiar pattern of my own, like doubt, of like, it's just like that same thing that when you were a kid and all the adults are being weird and saying, I'm not angry, while they're yelling at you. And, it's that kind of a thing where you can feel it's off, but you're not totally sure because you're still trying to like fit into some kind of society. And it feels like that to me in the dyad, because my goal here is, I mean, there's no real goal, but like, I'm also being present with whatever is here, and that's what's here. And so I don't want to like push it away. And so there's a part of me that's like, oh, do I need to talk like that? Or like it
Yeah.
starts to influence my language, and I get a little
Yeah.
confused, even though it's just the mind getting confused. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just notice, I'm like, okay, so I'm noticing sensation. Do I need to say, well, this body is having sensation? Like it
Mhm.
starts to kind of mess with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. So all of this is really good material for in the dyads as well. So whatever's authentically coming up, just being like fully honest the way you are right now, in the dyad, just saying, I feel like in my mind may be feeling like I should be using this language or whatever, but screw it. I just, that doesn't feel right. So what feels like you, what feels authentic, and it is being brutally, radically honest with ourselves, and yeah, not buying into any sort of imposed idea of how it should look, but just more, yeah, feeling our way.
Yeah, I did end up just doing that. So I just kind of wanted to like run it by you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, just keep going. It sounds, you're I think the key is really just seeing all of these games and patterns that the mind plays, and yeah, just making it conscious.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, when I'm in there, really there's nothing to say. Like I just want to be silent. And it's the most beautiful thing to just be silent for not only my own experience, but just the experience of like witnessing another being, like
Yeah.
in the eye gazing, it's just so beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and yeah, that there is like something that's happening in that silence, like it's like the heart opening. The silence can start to speak, but sometimes there's a period of just marinating in that silence. Just if that feels like the most true and the most real, then yeah, there's nothing that we have to do. Nothing. Just be in that.
Yeah, thanks. And then I think I have another, like, this is like probably, I mean, it's kind of a mind thing, but it comes up. So I wanted to see what you think. Like, I'm sure you're very well aware of like the radical non-dual, like Tony Parsons and Jim Newman and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, and you've probably heard that famous interview with Jim and Sam Harris.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is what like still comes up for me, is like, because there is such a resonance with that message. Like I am doing this kind of path, like sort of what Sam Harris was representing, just this like, this path that we're all on, and discovering ourselves as awareness and deepening, and it's like a journey, and there's like a supposed goal, even though the goal is no goal, and but there is this path, the pathless path, and then there's this deep resonance with like, this is all bullshit, like this is such a game, this is such another mind-made egoic thing that's like thinks it's on this journey. And I know you would agree with that, but it's like, it's sort of like whatever the message of this radical of like, it just keeps popping up for me, where it's like, why am I even pretending that I'm awareness? Like I don't even really think I'm awareness. I don't, it's just a word that we're using, and that's fine, but like I don't really believe that either. And it kind of just
Good.
feels like more true for me to, I mean, the only thing that feels the truest thing is just total silence. And um it's like, on one level, this character does not feel at all like it's reached where it wants to, as in the awakening like game.
Yeah.
And the life is not great, but but
Yeah.
it's like on this deepest level, it's like none of that matters and there's nothing to do. And I know that's what you're saying. I'm trying to like figure out how it's different, but it feels different.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've hit on something, yeah, amazing. So yeah, all of these teachers and teachings, like, like you said something like, yeah, you can't believing that you're awareness, like, and you can't, yeah, it's not a concept. So that's it. So that radical, skepticism and that, just being totally authentic with what's real and true for you. There's nothing Tony Parsons or Rupert Spira or if they say or if I say we're all awareness, we're this consciousness that's here, it's just conceptual until it's not. So what seems to be drawing you is the stillness. The stillness seems to be real for you. So the truth is found in that stillness, the direct experience of what all these teachers are pointing towards is direct experience of that consciousness that you are. And it's in that stillness that it's revealed. And we can't make that happen, but it seems that that's the most authentic thing for you. So it's good. So be totally skeptical of all. Don't believe anything. Don't believe any of these teachers, even me especially. But in that stillness, be still and know is the greatest teaching. So yeah, just keep going with that.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that like, when you talk to Jim Newman and that those kinds of teachers, like they will tell you like everything anyone says about awareness, every single teacher, Rupert Spira, the list goes on of all the teachers we know, they're not teaching the real truth. Like they discredit all of it and they say that it's not the same truth. And that's what's like so frustrating, like listening to that conversation with him and Sam. That's because it's like Sam's like, no, we're talking about the same thing. And Jim's like, no, we're not, because you're still talking to a person and you still think you're a person. And while this path is like also recognizing the same thing of like, yes, there's no one here and there's nothing to do. It's like somehow the way that Jim, I'm just using Jim because that's just a name to use, but just that radical non-dual perspective is that like there's somewhere you get to, even though you don't get to anything and no one can, but there's some experience that isn't an experience, that happens where that is just like beyond consciousness. Even like you couldn't even call it consciousness or awareness. Like it makes absolutely no sense to even call it that.
Yeah.
Whereas like in this path, it seems like you can call it that and that is what it's called. And so it makes it sound like they're different things.
Yeah, and and all of that it's incredibly exhausting going
Yeah.
on YouTube with all of that and trying to make sense of it. And so it all comes down to, this stillness. And, I call it a don't know mind where, we turn our attention away from all of that, all those teachings,
Yeah.
all that noise of non-dual talking heads and all that. It doesn't matter who it is. Who cares? Maybe they've had true realization, maybe not, but it doesn't matter, because for you to realize it is coming to your own still point, your own depth, and it will be revealed. However it's going to be revealed for you. So it is actually, trying to make sense of all of that just takes you into that whirlpool of the mind deeper and deeper.
Yes, totally. Thank you. And I knew that, but I just it's kind of like the last person that came on. Like I know, but I just want to have this experience to like say it to you and have you just kind of like confirm that, because it is just more mind candy, and but it's shocking to me that people who are like self-realized, or I mean, how would I know, but they're saying they are, and you do feel a resonance from them, but like that they would even entertain those discussions, because it's so obvious that's just more mental. Like, why would you even discuss it? Like, why would you have infighting between non-dual teachers that are saying there's like no one here, and yet you can point to all these other teachers how they're wrong and not good enough and not awakened enough, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I know, it's incredible. Yeah, the whole thing is it like arguing and fighting over non-duality is such it's a contradiction in terms, you know. So
It's
yeah,
like the ego never rests. Like even when it wakes up or something, it still it still keeps egoing.
yeah. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, like people get caught in that endlessly. So yeah, so just, you know, stillness is really the teacher, and you know, a true teacher is pointing you to your own stillness, and that's it. So yeah, all the rest is just noise.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dan. You've been so helpful, and I'm just like perpetually amazed by your dedication to us and this project, and that you can do these movies and then somehow these daily attending to all the dyads, and the running of this program is just like really amazing, and I'm so grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to everyone once again. Beautiful heart sharing and beautiful field we created here. Yeah. So I will see you around in Dyads or wherever we are. And yeah, thanks again, everyone. See you next week.